Hello people! So this is my first video on this channel, Alice's Bookography, and this is my haul for April and March. It's more books than I've bought recently. I haven't really been buying that many, so it's been really actually quite nice to finally indulge myself. So yeah, we'll get straight into it. The first ones I bought, which I actually bought a while ago, were the start to the Bloodlines trilogy. Well, not trilogy, it's a series, but these are the second and third book, because the first one I've got is a Kindle edition, and I recently read both of these, and I'll be getting the third one. I think there are 5 in the series at the moment, but it may be 6, I'm unsure. This is Golden Lily, and these series feature Sydney, who's an alchemist who plays a really small role in the Vampire Academy series by Richelle Mead. That was her first series, Vampire Academy, but she recently wrote these novels. So yeah, this series features Sydney, and she's an alchemist, which means that she well, in this world there are 2 types of vampire. There are the Moroi, who feed off humans but don't kill them, and they tend to be quite nice as a race. Then there are the Strigoi, which are the evil vampires that, in order to become one, you have to drain the blood of a human. You have to kill somebody. Or a Moroi. They tend to hunt Moroi more than humans because they think they taste better, I suppose, and they want to convert Moroi into Strigoi. And then there are the Dampirs, which protect the Moroi from the Strigoi, and they're half human, half vampire. And they train at the academy to protect the Moroi. And Sydney, being an alchemist, she covers up any Strigoi bodies, or she covers up basically for the vampire world, trying to stop the humans from becoming aware of it. She's a really interesting character. She develops a lot through this series, and considering I've only read 3 of the books so far, the character development has been quite intense, which I don't think is a bad thing, because as a character she's not very much, I don't relate to her particularly well. In the second book I got quite frustrated at some times with the decisions she'd make, but I think that's a sign of a good author, if they can make you question a character's decisions. And I also think it's really interesting when an author doesn't actually just make a character based on what they want to be or who they are, which I don't feel like Richelle Mead did, because Sydney and Rose, who's the main character in Vampire Academy, are very, very different, incredibly different. But Rose and Dimitri and Adrian, who are in the first series of books by Richelle Mead, do feature Adrian a lot in this series. So if you enjoyed Vampire Academy, I highly recommend reading these, because her style of writing it's so captivating that you can't really pass up the opportunity. So this is the second book I bought. It's His Fair Assassin, Book 1, Grave Mercy by LaFevers, or LaFevers, I'm not sure how you say it. And I'll read you the blurb. Young, beautiful and deadly. Trained as an assassin by the god of death, Ismay is sent to the court of Brittany, where she finds herself unprepared, not only for the games of intrigue and treason, but for the impossible choices she must make. For how can she deliver death's vengeance upon a target who, against her will, has stolen her heart? A dangerous romance full of intrigue, poison, and ultimately finding one's way. So I haven't actually read this yet. I did have a look through the book, and it's written in a point of view that I don't usually read from. It's written in, I don't know what it's called. I mean, it's first person, but it's written in a style that I don't usually take on. Like in Richelle Mead's books, it tends to be something that's happened in the past, but it's first person, if that makes any sense. This one is as if it's happening in the present. So it says, I bear a deep red stain that runs down from my left shoulder down to my right hip, a trail left by the herb witch poison that my mother used to try to expel me from her womb. So I think Richelle Mead's books are in a second/first person perspective. This is from a first person perspective, which I don't usually enjoy reading because I don't like being put in the position of the character so much. I prefer, as I say, the style of Richelle Mead's books, but the premise behind these really intrigues me because I've read the Throne of Glass series and I absolutely adore them. So anything to do with assassins and women that are deadly, I really just love their characters. So I do think I'll enjoy this book, so I will do a review on it when I have read it. Okay, so the third book I bought, which actually was bought for me by my boyfriend for just $4.99, which is relatively cheap for Waterstones actually, is called The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon, and this is about a girl called Paige who breaks into people's minds. That's her job, but it's a very reckless job. It's technically treason in their world, and I'm really intrigued by this. I've heard loads of good reviews about it, so I won't spoil anything particularly as I don't really know much about it, but I'm very interested in getting to read this. The fourth book I got was Half-Blood by Jennifier Armentrout. I'm not sure if it's the Armentrout or Armentrout, but it's by her, and it's called Half-Blood, as I said, and it's the first Covenant novel, and it's a #1 New York Times best-selling author. This book also concludes the prequel to, it's a prequel novella, Damon, but I haven't actually read this series. I've been told it's very, very similar to Vampire Academy, which is one of my favourite series, as you probably could tell from the first book I showed you. But this one's about the Hematoi, which are descended from gods and mortals, and the children of two Hematoi purebloods have godlike powers, and then children of Hematoi and mortals haven't. And these half-bloods only have two options: to either become sentinels to kill demons or servants in the home of the pures, so the direct Hematoi descendants. And this book's about a girl called Alexandria who chooses to learn to fight instead of being a servant, and it just sounds really, really interesting to me, like exactly the kind of book I'd like to read. And this was recommended by another booktuber, which I can't remember who it was that I read or watched talk about this book, but she seemed to really like it, so I took on board that review and I will be reviewing it myself, so stay tuned. The next book I got was Cinder, the first book in the Lunar Chronicles by MarissaMeyer. I have heard so many people say that this is an amazing book, so I had to go and buy it myself. It seems like it's a twist on the normal fairy tale Cinderella, but quite a big twist. So I think it's only really a vague interest in Cinderella that's really drawn from the plot here. I'll read you the blurb of this. Cinder, a gifted mechanic in New Beijing, is also a cyborg. She's reviled by her stepmother and blamed for her stepsister's sudden illness, but when her life becomes entwined with the handsome Prince Kai's, she finds herself at the centre of a violent struggle between the desires of an evil queen and a dangerous temptation. Cinder is caught between duty and freedom, loyalty and betrayal. Now she must uncover the secrets about her mysterious past in order to protect Earth's future. So, I am usually a fan of futuristic novels. I absolutely loved the book Eden, but this isn't something I usually pick out. It's mainly the reviews I've heard of it, and people just raving about the series. So, again, this is the book I'm going to be reviewing, and I will let you know whether I like it. Now, this book I have also heard loads of amazing reviews about. It's Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. I've actually seen more about this on Instagram than I have on YouTube, but I have heard some really good reviews of it. It's also a kind of futuristic novel that focuses on a different kind of society, but it's about a world that's divided by blood, and that gives you your rank. So reds are commoners, and they're ruled by the silver who have possession of godlike superpowers. And this book focuses on Mare Barrow, 17-year-old red girl from poverty-stricken Stilts. And to her, it seems like nothing will ever change in this place, but I'm really intrigued by this novel. The cover and the actual size of the book is pretty big. Not in respect to pages, but it's quite thick as well. So yeah, I will really be intrigued to see whether or not the reviews I've read on these books will actually stand up. I'm very critical when it comes to books. So yeah, I'm really excited to start reading. And last but not least, I bought Dreamwalker by J.D. Oswald. I have actually started reading this. I'm about 50 pages in. I'll tell you what I think of the book so far. It's basically about a young dragon and a young boy born on the same day, and they sort of become entwined in really changing the world that they live in. And if anyone who knows me, I absolutely adore dragons. Most of the books that I read do feature them in, although I haven't read the typical dragon fiction. I haven't read all of the olds. But this book so far has been a little disappointing for me, purely because from the way it's written, I get the impression that the dragons aren't as you'd imagine. They're not like out of Aragon. They don't walk on all fours. They don't. They're not really like dragons. They're more like humanoid dragon forms, which really irritates me. The same thing irritates me with werewolves, when it's not an actual wolf, it's like a person crossed with a wolf. I'm not a big fan of that kind of fiction, so I'm finding it quite difficult to read. Also because Oswald chooses to use very Celtic fantasy names, which is okay, aside from the fact that you sometimes just can't read the name for a good 5 minutes. So yeah, I will let you guys know what I think in the end, but so far I'm not really 100% happy with this purchase, but the plot sounds good, so I'm willing to give it a try. So yeah, they are the books I bought for April and March, a lot more than I usually would considering I'm at uni, so I don't exactly have a lot of money. I will be reviewing The Bone Season, Cinder, Half-Blood, Dreamwalker, Red Queen and Grave Mercy. So if you want a more in-depth review, be sure to check back on my channel. I can't say they're going to be quickly reviewed, but they will be as quickly done as I possibly can manage. I've got all my deadlines in uni coming up in the next few weeks, so it's more than likely to be towards the end of May and then into June period when you finally start seeing more reviews from me. But I will be doing more videos in the meantime of books I've already read and will be reviewing, such as the Throne of Grass trilogy, the City of Heavenly Fire, which is Cassandra Clare's last book in the series, among others, some more classical fiction like Wuthering Heights, as I studied that for A-level English, and a few more. So yeah, be sure to keep up to date, and thank you for watching this video.